By the way, the rest of Asia is also doing quite well, right? So you have something like a Taiwan, which is up 1.5%. That one doing well. You have the Hong Kong markets trading with good gains. For our own markets, the oil and gas space also in focus. So some of those names will be up on your screen. Tech once again is doing well, and PSU banks might not be the top gainers today, but within that basket, you're still seeing good moves in something like a UCO Bank, your Bank of Maharashtra. All of these doing very well. On the downside, it is really consumption, which is proving to be a little bit of a drag on the markets. But that's what's going on with the market action. We'll come back to this. First up, let's get you the first conversation going on trading hour today. We begin with some industry perspective. Automakers are rolling out steep discounts for customers to clear stocks, especially of slow-moving or entry-level vehicles. So schemes on passenger vehicles, despite record sales, indicate that vehicle makers are matching supply to demand by clearing out unsold inventory. To understand more about this, we are joined by Nikunj Sanghi, Managing Director at JS Fourwheel Motors, as well as Vinkesh Gulati, Director at United Automobiles, on the show now. Gentlemen, good morning, and thank you very much for joining us. Mr. Sanghi, if I can come to you first, we have been talking about this pain that we are seeing in the entry-level segment. We've been talking about the discounts there. How long do you think this is likely to last, and what is really the extent of the pain that you're seeing here?
Well, at the entry level, I definitely feel that there is stress and the discounts are likely to continue because there are waiting periods, very big waiting periods at the mid segment and the higher segment, including SUVs and compact SUVs. What is really not pushing retail is entry level cars. And I think that's what gives volumes to a number of players. And they would definitely want those numbers to come back. So I guess the discounts will continue even post-December is my opinion.
Sanghi, morning, Rima here. Could you tell us the extent of discounts? Okay, we've facing some technical glitch, but this is, okay, we've managed to reconnect with him. Mr. Sanghi wanted to understand the extent of discounts that you are offering. The price range, and how would it compare with, say, 2 years ago or pre-COVID?
So if you look at the entry-level cars, I mean, if you look at somebody like Maruti, the discounts are ranging anywhere from 45,000 to about 60,000, which is almost 5% of the value of the car, which according to me is very steep. Normally, discounts are ranging from 2%, 1.5%, 2%, but 5% discount is massive. Even on a product like a Bolero in Mahindra's or an XUV 300, we have discounts of almost a lakh of rupees, which is again around 5% of the value of the vehicle. So these are discounts at a very high level, which we have not seen before, not even in the last 2 years. So I would guess that this would be one of the steepest discounts that we can see on entry-level cars.
Okay, so discounts are very high. In fact, as Mr. Sanghi was mentioning, M&M, for example, is offering a discount of up to 1 lakh on most of its cars, whether it's the XUV 300, there's a 95,000 rupee discount on the Bolero Neo. These are discounts that we haven't seen in a very long time, and it just goes to show that despite there being a waiting period on many of these products, discounts are higher. So that brings us to the question of how demand is shaping up. Vinkesh Gulati is also with us. Vinkesh, what does this mean in terms of demand? The SUV segment, of course, demand is great, and that point, we do know. But in the small car segment, has there been any recovery in demand at all? And if yes, why are discounts still so high?
So thanks for having me here. Obviously, the improvement has been enormous. The kind of walk-ins and booking we are getting, even for entry segment, is good. But yes, the conversions are still slow. And practically what we are expecting is January again, the price rise will be there. So the current discount, if you monitor, like Nikunji said, it's around 5%. And on an average, 2 to 3% price increases happens in January, where the hints are already there. So the acquisition price for a customer is around 8 to 9% difference from January to December, which will be huge for any entry-level product, be it cars, be it hatchbacks, be it sedans or SUVs. So overall, it's a good scheme. And we are at the cusp of that BS6 2, which OBD, which they are announcing, that will also push the prices higher in January. So I am expecting this to be the best ever price, like he said, and the discounts what we have seen for the past 3 years have been not more than half of what we are having today. The overall inquiry levels is good. I am hoping that the conversions will improve as we go towards the month end, which is around 20th or later. So positive side for entry segment, and November had been good. So hopefully the same fallback, same continuings will be there in December also.
All right. Mr. Sanghi, if I can come back to you, you know, what I want to understand is because of this entry level not seeing too much demand, do you think a part of this is moving to the two-wheelers? We were looking at TVS Motor also a while ago. Their iQube is doing extremely well. A lot of the two-wheeler companies, you know, have seen their models doing quite well. So do you think that the people that were perhaps looking to buy these entry-level vehicles are just moving to two-wheelers now?
I don't think they're moving to two-wheelers. A car buyer, I don't think will move to two-wheelers. But the stress that we see in entry-level two-wheelers, I think, has been there for very long, except for the last 2 months. I think October, November, the festival period was very good even for entry-level two-wheelers, and we saw record sales of almost all brands, including Hero, which is a predominant player in the entry-level segment. But I guess where I'm coming from is affordability. I guess the segment that is being targeted by entry-level two-wheelers, they are still under stress, and they find it extremely difficult to for paying the higher acquisition costs, I think, which have gone up by almost 35% in the last 2 years. And also the cost of operation, because fuel is expensive. It continues to be over 100 rupees a liter. So the EMI plus the fuel cost is a stress at the entry level, and I guess this will continue for some more time.
It's not just the EMI and the fuel cost, right? I mean, it's also the BS6 norms, the third party, the insurance changes that took place, the ABS norms. All of this put together has sort of destroyed the bottom half of the two-wheeler industry. And Mr. Sanghi, we've seen this for a very long time. How long do you think it would take for a recovery to come through? And is there anything that can be done from the government's end? Because a lot of these norms that have been put in place have been in the recent past from the government itself, and that's resulted in this fall. So what do you think can be done from the government's end?
I think the industry has been lobbying for lower GST on entry-level two-wheelers, because entry-level two-wheelers are not luxury items. They are mobility solutions for the people who use them. And for them to be able to do their course, whether it's going for their jobs, whether it's their small businesses, I think these are people who are self-employed and in the lower segment. And I think the GST, it is, I mean, I call it the sin rate. 28% GST on an entry-level two-wheeler is very high, and I think the government will do well if they consider dropping down the GST on entry-level two-wheelers, definitely.
Vinkesh, you were making the point about how the relative prices today are so much better, 7-8% better than what you will get a month later. Because if you take the blended, if you take the blend of the current discounts, which are 5%, plus the price increase, which is expected typically in January of about 2 to 3%, you would save close to about 8% relative to 1 month later. But has that translated into sales? What are the current sales looking like in the first 14 days of this month versus, say, the month of November, or, say, the average of the last 6 months? Is the average buyer cognizant of the fact that this is relatively a good, attractive price and they are buying in?
Yeah, please.
Mr. Gulati, wanted to understand what the sales are.
So the sales, like I told you, the initial push every time in December, when the schemes are launched, is on the booking side and the inquiry side. And as of now, the order book has increased in the first 14 days, what we have seen. There are a lot of interest coming in. So normally the schemes were launched around 4 to 7 across OEMs. And we have just gone through a week where the customer could understand what are the schemes and what is the benefit. As of today, how much is the cash part, how much is the accessories parts and all that. And now the inquiry levels and the booking levels have increased. So like I told you, the deliveries or the conversions hopefully will start from 20th. And it happens every time in December that this is a process where the schemes come in. No doubt, November had seen a very good number. FADA had released some 26% increase November year on year. I'm not sure if we'll be seeing the same growth rate in December. But overall, the things, at least in the car segment, clearly looks positive because of the schemes and the price increase what we are looking at. And availability is also a bit better. I'm not talking about the vehicles which are obviously in a waiting period of long, but the other models, except for that top variant of every model, are easily available in the market today. The wind changes going around, the price increases coming in. So I'm hopeful the car segment will continue to see greener pastures, which means improvement in numbers. On the other hand, if I talk of two-wheelers, we had seen a very good increase of tractor sale in November, which was around it had come around 57%. And that's a huge number for tractor growth, which clearly shows that rural is again coming back. So if I see all over India, which is North Belt is more on the rural sales, except for one or two states, all these states have come back on the rural market and shown growth year on year. So I'm expecting the tractor sales will, in a month or so, or also in December, will give some push to the two-wheeler market also.
All right, so you are hoping that things will get better from the end of December and then moving into Jan as well. For now, heavy discounting. Just one final question, Mr. Sanghi, before we let you go. We were saying that from January, we tend to see price increases once again at a time when the entry level is still facing stress. Do you think in just a matter of a month, these discounts will be rolled back and we'll see price increases?
So the discounts will be rolled back. I think the discounts are also given because of the wind change. A lot of people would not want to buy a Wind 22 vehicle only 15 days getting into Wind 23. So in order to motivate the customer or to bring him to the showroom, I think these discounts are given at every December for him to make it sense to buy a Wind 22 vehicle instead of a Wind 23 vehicle. So I definitely feel that discounts will be rolled back in January. Yes, I'm not very sure if it will have a positive impact on retails. Some retails would have already been preponed in December because of the heavy discounts and the anticipated price increase. Therefore, I think January we will again see a stress at the entry level.
Okay, so the stress continues in the entry level, discount or no discounts, the demand continues to be a bit stretched or under stress rather in the entry level segment. Thanks a lot for joining in, Mr. Sanghi and Mr. Gulati.